Here we are at Buffalo Trace Distillery. We've just pulled up and getting ready to go inside and start our tasting for the Blanton's barrel. But as you can see here, we have the water tower in the historic landmark, which is Buffalo Trace Distillery in Frankfort, Kentucky. So we'll take you inside and see you there. So this is one of the warehouses at the distillery. As you can see, it's very dark and black in color. It's actually a brick warehouse, but the black is mold that has grown and promoted from all of the yeast and sugars and alcohol vapors that are evaporating off all of the barrels, coating everything in this dark blackness. But behind me here is the bottling house for Blanton's, which we'll go into later on. We just saw a whole pallet of Blantons coming out from there, and there are many, many more pallets inside there. So not sure why there's a shortage going on, because there's a lot in there. So we will go and claim some of it later. Yeah.
Our lab has already tasted these, and in order for us to roll out these barrels, they've had to unanimously pass that panel. If one person didn't think that it matched, it's not in here. So you're really kind of picking from our cherry picks at this point. But everything in the barrel right now is going to be at barrel proof. So because you guys are here and are tasting it, we think it's cool to taste it straight from the barrel.
Nice.
So that will be the sample I have in the front glass. The sample in the back glass, I will cut down with our RO water to get us closer to 93 proof, because you'll notice an extreme difference when we add the water. Since you're getting it at the 93 proof, I think it makes sense for you all to at least sample it that way, so there's no surprises when this comes back to y'all in the store. But we'll work on getting 2 samples pulled out of each barrel first, then I'll go back through, cut them down, and then we'll kind of go over the tasting portion. This guy, if you haven't seen one, is called a whiskey thief. So it works like a giant straw. You put it in the barrel, it's kind of pulling at the sample as it sits there. I'm going to demonstrate, but then I'll let you guys play around with it. There's a hole on top you can put your thumb over, and then once you're above the glass, you just lift up your thumb. And about the bottom line is what we're filling to. And we'll let the rest kind of drain back into the barrel. Very cool.
Very similar though.
I feel like a dog has a weird name like that.
Oh, that spilled over the end of the glass. All right. I have to say that was a very equal pour.
Perfect.
Don't want to.
Perfect. Good.
Oh,
Also an excellent feed.
perfect.
Yeah. I don't think we're letting it. Yeah, just make sure you can like lift this up a little bit and see if it's stopped draining.
You can hold it over your mouth, see if it
Yeah,
stops
it's
draining.
all drained out. Perfect. Do the fourth one.
George, I might have another call.
Those.
All right, so this is barrel number 2 out of 4 that we have to choose from. I'm going to try and do this without spilling it and wasting this precious stuff.
Good. Perfect. Pro.
I'm a good thief.
Yeah. Warehouse, I don't do any.
All right, we're about to start tasting. We have 4 to taste. We've all pulled the samples already from the barrels that you saw. So we have a couple of sheets of paper, which we're going to take notes on. Here are all the samples. We're going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, but this is the bit where we have fun and you watch us do it. Okay, Warehouse H. Blanton's is from Warehouse H. This is where we just were, where all of it comes from.
What's that barrel that's signed?
Here we are inside Warehouse H. So this is where Blanton's is stored for its life, mostly 6 years. but it is one of the smaller warehouses on the property. It's also the only one of the original warehouses that is clad in metal as opposed to made out of brick. So the aging process happens a lot faster and more intense. But here they all are, guys. So we're going to go through, find a few that have been pulled just for us, taste through them, and get the best one. Okay, so we're out of the tasting space, back in the warehouse, as two of our barrels are being proofed down, ready to get blind tasted. So here's Kevin. Here's Colleen.
Hi.
That's me. We're going to be tasting between barrel number 1 and barrel number 4. Which one did you like, Colleen, out of those two?
4.
You like 4?
Immediately.
What did you think, Kevin?
There was a lot of competition between the two. I think number 1 had a little bit more on the nose, but a little more on the palate on number 4.
Right.
So.
I think they were both complex. So now we're going to go in, taste them both blindly, so we don't know which is which, and prove to ourselves that we're going to pick the right one. Okay? That's what's happening now.
What do you got to say to the people?
All right. 1, 2, 3. Here's number 4. This is ours, guys and girls.
Boom.
Enjoy.
Yeah. So Brandon will, when he's going in and like customizing or whatever, he'll just put they want the empty barrel, so select that option, and then yeah, when it ships out, it will ship with the barrel, and really we just saran wrap it to all the cases. So it usually shows up on one pallet. I feel like sometimes when it gets to like warehouses, they
Hi, guys.
Hey David, what's the board say?
There's somebody's barrel pick right here.
It doesn't bother me at all.
Her eyes were like a gray.
I've never seen them put the wax on.
That's a polite way of saying it, and I'm supposed to be nice till after Christmas.
So here it is. This is our final product. This is our Blantons that has been dumped from our barrel that we just chose. It has been shipped to us all the way here to Philadelphia at the Twisted Tail. We received the full barrel, or the empty barrel, but the whole barrel, and also a very large number of these happy little cases of whiskey right here. So this is how it arrives to us, 6 per case. In this, you can see it is logoed with the Blanton's single barrel bourbon on the front of the case. Also, we have our little sticker, which we'll find hopefully on each of the bottles as we open it up. So this is the sticker that we've designed. It says private barrel selection, and it has the Twisted Tail logo on the middle of it, which is a pig sticking out of a barrel of bourbon. And in the middle of the barrel of bourbon, we have written 2020, just to commemorate the year that we did this wonderful barrel selection. So we're going to go ahead and open up, and hopefully we find some good whiskey inside. If not, this will be a very disappointing video. All right, looking good. So here we go. We have 6 boxes of Blantons. They're, again, logoed with Blantons over the top of the box. Really nice packaging. Each of the boxes has the bottle of Blanton's on the front of it with the word Blanton's, some information about the world's first single barrel bourbon, which Blanton's is. But the cool thing is that if you line them up next to each other, if I've done that correctly, it makes a picture of a bottle. So basically you have to buy more than one of these, otherwise you don't have that wonderful smile on your face before you've even opened the box. So we have our cool packaging from Blanton's. On the back of it, here you have information. The world's finest bourbon in the world comes from a single barrel. And it gives you a little history of Colonel Albert Blanton and how it came to be a single barrel selection for the Buffalo Trace Distillery, and put that out as the world's first single barrel, which of course now is an extremely popular and well-respected single barrel bourbon. So we are going to open up this box, and inside immediately we get excited because we see the horse poking out of the top of the box that is on the top of the stopper of every bottle of Blanton's. We're going to pull that out and see what we have. All right. So here we have our Blanton's. It is in a really nice felt bag. So every single bottle comes packaged in the box and a bag. The bag is also stitched with Blanton's in the gold stitching on the front. Anybody who works in the restaurant industry knows that these little felt bags, these pouches, are gold for keeping your pens and your bar products and anything else like that. So this is an industry little extra gift for every bottle of Blanton's that we have here. However, we have had one customer of the Twisted Tail get very inventive during COVID times, and he's turned his Blanton's bag into a face mask. So there are many different things that you can do to repurpose these bags, but they are pretty cool. So we open it up, and inside is what we've been waiting for. So here is our bottle of Blanton's in that iconic grenade-shaped bottle. You see the horse on the top. Every single bottle of Blanton's has a little cast horse on the top that has a letter. If you collect them all, then you have the 8 letters, B-L-A-N-T-O-N-S. And if you arrange them in that order, then it is start to finish of the horse race, famed to be the Kentucky Derby race, on the winning horse, of course, being the S of the Blantons. So that's really unique and a good little way to be collecting these bottles. We have a black wax seal that is holding the cork on there. We have a little information tab as well that tells us again about the world's first single barrel bourbon. But very importantly, on the main label itself, it is going to give us the information of this barrel, which of course is unique to the Twisted Tail, this being a private selection barrel. So this one is from warehouse number H, which is the infamous warehouse that every single Blanton's comes from. Warehouse number H is a low-lying warehouse in the distillery. It is also the only one clad in metal, and it is quite a small warehouse in comparison to some of the others that are out there. But that is where every Blanton's single barrel product comes from. It gives us the whiskey dumped on date. So this is the date that this barrel was emptied and brought down to bottling proof and put into these bottles. And that date is April the 6th, 2020. We also happen to know the barreling date because it is written on the top of the barrel that we received with this. So we can tell from this that this is a 6-year, 11-month bourbon. Now, Blanton's is a 6-year product, so 6 years and 11 months still technically qualifies as a 6-year product because we haven't hit that 7-year marker, but we're right there at 11 months, 1 month shy of this being a 7-year Blanton's. So this actually has some extra aging on it. A typical Blanton's that you would find in the store would be 6 to 6.5 years. So we have roughly 5-6 extra months of aging on this barrel itself, which I hope is going to find a nice toasty note on the flavor or the aroma, at least, from this barrel. So we have it dumped on April the 6th, 2020 from barrel number 5 on rick number 2 in warehouse H. So it gives us the very specific location of exactly where this barrel was living for the 6 years and 11 months of its life, which is really cool. It says it is individually selected and bottled by hand at 93 proof, and this is bottle number 54 out of 175 that came from this barrel. So we have all the information down to the exact bottle that we have from our barrel that came from Warehouse H. And now we're going to give you the information about how it smells and tastes. So let's go ahead and open the bottle. We're just going to pull on this tab, the wax peels right off. Put that to the side. We'll get this label out of the way. And give the cork its first little twist off. Well, it wasn't as dramatic as I was hoping. All right, so this cork is actually letter number N. Now there are two N's in Blanton's, and they are both different castings of the stage in the race. So when you collect them all, make sure you just pop them in the right positions. All right. Now the best part of beginning any pour of any bottle is that glug. So see if we can hear the glug. A little bit. I could hear it. Hopefully you could hear it. Makes you start to salivate as soon as you hear that glug. All right, so let's chat about this. I put it in a nice wide rim glass so that we can get some good color through here. So the coloring is really nice, deep amber. It's got a very clear color. There's no impurities in it, no imperfections whatsoever. It's got that really nice caramel visual that sells every bottle of bourbon on the shelf. And you can really see that through here, how dark this bottle of Blanton's is. It is, I would say, a shade darker than typical Blanton's, although I may be persuaded by that extra age that I know is on it already. So then on the nose, when I go to smell a bourbon, I always do it with my lips pursed. So I breathe that over my tongue and through my nose and kind of taste it as I smell it. And we really get those caramel notes coming right off the top. Some burnt toffee notes, but there's a fruit element to this whiskey also. I would say there's black cherry in here, some dried orange peel in here that's really adding a dimension and balancing out the sweetness that is apparent in the whiskey. It's really great. I'm looking forward to this tasting, so let's go ahead and do that. Mm-hmm. I'm just waiting a moment because it's changing still on my palate. It's really multi-dimensional. It's actually really amazing. So that fruit that we got off the nose really becomes apparent on the front of the palate, and especially the dried orange peel really pops and brings forward kind of a dominant taste. That then blends on the mid palate, and the caramelizations come through, and the robustness and the body of the spirit really fills your mouth and pairs with that, and you get that caramel orange, that burnt toffee is coming back from the nose into the palate. But then it morphs towards the end after you swallow, and your breath hits your mouth again, and it really opens up more of the aromas for a very, very complex finish, which includes things like marzipan, almond, a little marshmallow kind of creaminess almost to it, which started on the body and is now finishing. And even still now, after talking for about a minute afterwards, the linger is still there. You get a cinnamon spice that is apparent in the back of the throat. It's really enjoyable. Very, very balanced. I wouldn't say it's over-dominated by any one characteristic at all, but instead a really nice, constructed, and mature bourbon. For the extra 6 months, you know, who knows, we should be doing a side-by-side tasting with a regular bottle of Blanton's. But you can't buy a regular bottle of Blanton's anywhere really at the moment. So right now we're enjoying a healthy stock of our own private select, which I have to say is highly enjoyable. Blanton's was already one of my favorites, and tasting it today, it's popped right up there to the top of the list again. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this. If it has made you thirsty and you live in Philadelphia, please pop down to the Twisted Tail and we'll be happy to share some of this with you. But here you go. That is our bottle of Private Barrel Select Blanton's from the Buffalo Trace Distillery from the Twisted Tail.